Welcome to the Streets of Stratford. The Streets of Stratford is a historical and educational website. It tells the story of how 300 Stratford, Ontario streets got their names. It also contains over 650 stories about interesting people who lived on the streets. Plus, it shows locations of historic buildings that retain Stratford's heritage. First, let's go to the home page. This introductory page gives you a brief history of how Stratford got its start along the banks of the Avon River in 1832. It tells the story of Tiger Dunlop and Thomas Mercer Jones, who were the key founders and employees of the Canada Company in the early 1880s. Pictured here is Stanford Dingman, who was the originator of the first series of articles about the streets of Stratford in the Stratford Beacon Herald in the 1980s. 20 years later, a supplement was prepared that added new streets. Now, let's sample what's on the streets. The streets page shows the list of 300 of Stratford streets in alphabetical order. If you see a street that interests you, click on its first letter to take you there. As an example, click on M and choose Morenz Drive. This street is named in honor of Howie Morenz, Canada's first hockey superstar. He was called the Stratford Streak and was one of the first players to be voted into the NHL Hall of Fame. His number 7 was retired by the Canadiens in 1950. A little further down the page, learn about the Stratford Indians' famous line, Flick, Roth, and Flanagan, who played in the Allen Cup in 1952 and lost in the final game to the Fort Francis Canadiens. Next, stroll down to watch a video of Wayne Gretzky. Here he scores his very first goal in the Grand Old Shrine, the Walter Allman Arena. Also see a video about the excitable Howie Meeker, who played for the Stratford Kissed Canadians. Later, he was an analyst for Hockey Night in Canada, and he signed off with, "Keep your stick on the ice." Now, let's go to Christopher Plummer Drive. Here, you will see all the roles that Christopher played during a span of 55 years at the Stratford Festival. You can listen to Christopher giving a famous speech as Henry V at the Battle of Agincourt on St. Crispin's Day, commonly known as We Band of Brothers. Now we can head over to Ontario Street. It is the longest and oldest street in Stratford, and hence has the most stories, as is evident in the menu list. Ontario Street was so named because it was the main route from Stratford to Lake Ontario. Select Brooks Steamer. Here read the story of the Brooks Steamer, dubbed the Gentle Giant of Motion, built in a factory at 500 Ontario Street. The company only built 18 cars and went into receivership in 1929. One can be seen on permanent display at the Stratford Perth Museum. Now, let's leave Ontario Street and travel to Downey Street. It has many interesting sights. Downey Street takes its name from Robert Downey, an English member of Parliament and one of the 18 directors of the Canada Company. Here you will find where Justin Bieber got his start by viewing a video of him singing and playing his guitar on the steps of the Avon Theatre. Also, you can learn about his mother, Patty Millett, who is an author and actor. In front of the Avon Theatre is a Walk of Fame, showing bronze stars for famous actors who were with the festival, such as Alec Guinness, Timothy Findlay, William Hutt, Tyrone Guthrie, and Tom Patterson, to name a few. Okay, let's take a stroll down the beautiful tree-lined Lakeside Drive. Here, you will be able to watch a video of the annual swan parade that occurs each spring. The swans are escorted to the Avon River with great fanfare, led by Scottish pipers. At the bottom of the page, view a slideshow of Lakeside Drive pictures by Fred Gonder, a local photographer. Now we can go over to Queen Street. Take a stroll through the festival gardens. Read about Skip Manley, the Toscanini of tents. He was a talented tent master who raised a circus-sized tent for the first performance of the Stratford Festival. And here you also can hear the fanfare, played at the beginning of each performance of the festival, composed by Louis Applebaum. Now we travel to Erie Street, another storied road. Here you will find Jenny Trout, who was the first female physician to practice medicine in Canada. You can watch a Canadian Heritage Minute video about her life. Now, I hope you have a taste of what's on the streets. There's much, much more to explore. Let's check out streets by category. This page gives you a list of the people and places that are included in this site by category. Have a look at the menu and you will see, for example, actors, pioneers, historic buildings, inventors, sports personalities, and trees. Let's now see what's under the More tab. Click on Flashbacks. Here, you will see a list of historical articles about Stratford written by various contributors. Here are some examples. Click on Stratford View of Itself from the Air by Vince Grattan. These aerial photo cards were taken in 1919 by two famous Canadian war heroes, Billy Bishop, Canada's #1 flying ace, and Will Barker, the most decorated airman. Next, have a look at Barnum and Bailey Brings the Circus to Town, written by the Stratford Perth Archives staff. P.T. Barnum's traveling circus was a frequent attraction in early Stratford. In 1883, the circus program included the world-famous Jumbo the Elephant. Next, go to videos. These are videos showing interesting historical events. Dean Robinson, a Stratford Perth historian, describes the convergence of significant events in Stratford's history. The Stratford Adventure tells the story of the birth of the Stratford Festival Theatre. Also, under the More tab, you can take a quiz to test your knowledge of the history of Stratford, or try your skill at solving a streets crossword puzzle. I hope you will enjoy exploring the rich history of the streets of Stratford. They all have a story to tell. Go to thestreetsofstratford.ca.
Perfect.